Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris Barnard here. Overtime Athletes, always devoted to helping you athletes out. So I wanted to do a two-part series on sport-specific training. A lot of times what I talk about here in training for you athletes is obviously the weight room, but I think there's a huge importance on sport-specific training. I just recently picked up, it's been about 2 years since I went out and ran like one-on-ones. I know it sounds crazy, but I've actually ran an actual route, and I felt very stiff, and I felt like, you know, you just, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that saying is so you could get it back easily, but you definitely fall down, or you know, your level of performance, or my level of performance actually felt very, very bad, if you will. So it brought me to wanting to basically make this series on sport-specific training. And what I wanted to kind of do is break down two parts. One, today I wanted to describe the importance of it and how you kind of should be training it, or I'm sorry, how you should, or why you should be. And the next video, the part two, I want to basically talk about how you should be training sport-specific. Now, in regards to sport-specific training, all I'm saying is, whatever it is that you're doing as an athlete, it's actually focusing on those particular movements. If you're a quarterback, it's training, you're basically in practice, you're throwing. If you're a shooting guard, you're shooting the basketball. If you're a big man, you know what I mean, it's working on your post moves. If you're a pitcher, it's pitching. If you're a batter, it's batting. And anything associated with that position that you actually play in competition, that's what sport-specific training is, okay? And what I think and what I see from a lot of athletes is they typically associate just the practice that they need to do on a macro level of their actual sport. They think that's just enough, and I don't believe it is. I think that if you want to be an ultimate or an elite athlete, you need to be on your own, focusing on breaking down your own sport-specific training. And I'll back that up by giving you a little bit of research. So, you know, everything that was sport-specific pertains to neuromuscular training, right? It's your nervous system, and how your nervous system controls your muscles to ultimately perform the movement that you want to perform. And we could do all the weight room, we could do everything that you need to do here. You could be the fastest guy, the strongest guy in the weight room, but when you transfer it over to the field and actually compete, you actually won't make those plays if you're not actually doing sport-specific training. You need to have that higher correlation or high relation with actually performing the sport-specific drills. So, going off of research, they've actually done certain things to basically test our motor cortex, which is basically a part of our brain that controls the finer movements, if you will. So a couple stuff that they've done as far as research is, they've taken rats and basically taught them, feeding them through you know, a reward system, and basically and wanted to test their nervous system and the increase of their neural connections on one arm compared to the other. And what they noticed is, after basically teaching a rat to retrieve food off one arm for a certain period of time, almost, I think it was 2 weeks, sorry I don't have the research right here in front of me, but basically they saw bigger connections within that arm. They've also done a test where they basically do finger tapping, and they do finger tapping through the hand, which is more fine motor unit recruitment, or movement, if you will. And they basically taught somebody in as little as up to, I think, 2 or 3 sessions, they seen an increase in neural connections in those fingers for that particular movement. So what this is telling you, and the walk away, the pull away for this for you athletes, is you need to be performing the actual movements and breaking them down that you would do in your particular sport. And I know this sounds common sense, guys, but I literally need to show you guys backed research that's saying, hey, if you just perform exactly what you do and break it down on a micro level. So what that means is, if you're a quarterback, it's practicing your drops, your 3, your 5, your 7-step drops by itself over and over again, and doing it at a slower level, and then transferring that over to doing it at a faster level. I used to think as an athlete that you need to be performing all your movements as fast as possible or you get slower. Well, that's actually bullshit. What I'm telling you right now, and based off this research that I just talked about, is that athletes, you can actually walk through certain movements and then continuously progress the intensity or the speed of them as you go, as you get better, to ultimately increase a better movement pattern for you to be able to perform that. If you're a wide receiver and you're training breakdown, go through it slow, ultimately slow, and then increase the speed as you go and continuously increase it. Break down the movements that you're performing as opposed to just going and running one-on-one routes. Break down the actual movements, break down your start, and practice that over and over again. And that's how you become an elite athlete. You need to be able to train your sport-specific movements, break down the actual movements that you're actually utilizing, and train those over and over again. There's no mistake why LeBron James, I use him a lot, or I'll use Kobe Bryant. There's no mistake why Kobe Bryant, if you watch his movie Muse, or his documentary, after one game he went and shot, I believe, like thousands and thousands of shots after the game that he wasn't on point with, if you will. But my point is these athletes, they understand that if they're missing something or if their three-pointer's not on, they'll practice that over and over and over again, repetitions. And this is exactly what you need to do to become an elite athlete. Turn your brain off and essentially just go put in those repetitions on a micro level, and that will help you out as far as sport-specific and transferring over when you actually get into the field of play, competition, or game day. I hope that helps. I'll holler at you guys next time. Hey, thanks so much for watching the video. If you're interested in becoming a better athlete, go ahead and click this box right over here. Today, we'll get you signed up for a free athletic course that's going to teach you how to become a better athlete, whether it be speed, explosiveness, strength, or just pure aesthetics. Go ahead and click that. I'm going to send it to you and get you started immediately.